Yes, happy to see you. Welcome on board on the day 26th of January.
Yeah, and there should be limit to the greeting of Happy New Year. Today you've mentioned is what? 26th.
26th of the year.
Newborn.
26th the day of January. So it is my first time to see you this year. So it is important to say Happy New Year. Yes,
It's
welcome
our
on board. Yeah.
greetings.
Thank you. Welcome on board. What do you think, Aoko, of the things that is happening on? We have seen several things happening with this regime. What is your take? Actually, the few happenings of recently that we have seen, the judiciary securities being slashed, and CJ is saying that the security is somewhat withdrawn. What is happening? What is happening with our state? I do see the economy. They say that things will go down. We are seeing just things are just going up.
Let me just start by saying a warm good evening to fellow comrades who have joined this space. And commend Ruben Kigame for his eloquence and his clarity of thought, and his cerebral wherewithal, man, is admirable. And to think that we jinxed such kind of man for someone like the Sugoi Buta. Anyway, I'm not an intellectual, so I'll not go his route. I'm a maverick. So here's my take. Number one, on the withdrawal of the security of our Chief Justice, let me posit categorically that I have zero empathy, zero sympathy, zero concern for that woman at the helm of our judiciary. You see, the squabble between Ruto and Martha Koome Karambu is a fight amongst the dishonorable. Under Kasongo, the executive is a sham. Under Koome Karambu, or whatever they call her, the judiciary is a joke. That is why they are being referred to as jurispresa. Just recently, they used that on the impeachment of, Gachagua, and she got her bahasha. You see, if you go back to my tweets, I stated clearly the genesis of their recent fallout. It's got nothing to do with intimidation. It has got everything to do with a phone call that NIS intercepted. I mean, I make some of these tweets and people think that I'm mad because facts are always stranger than fiction. When in a society, the so-called mad people like Aoko, like Peter Salasia, like Pastor Nganga, like Sonko begin to make sense, then something rather is fundamentally flawed with that society. You see, come to think of it, when I heard Murkomen defending why they withdrew some of Koome's security that she was wailing about, apparently, she's entitled to 6 police officers, and she was having 32. Out of those 32, only 3 were withdrawn. And then you wonder, that is why as an ordinary Kenyan, you go to the police station to report an injustice, a grievance. You find 2 idling police officers flirting with each other, and they cannot even listen to you because the rest are in the field, on duty in the field. So this duty happens to be they are carrying handbags, and playing toy boys for some of these VIPs. And then the rest of us Kenyans, she expects that we are supposed to, scavenge some sense of sympathy for her. I mean, it does not make sense. But then, come to think of it, be as it may, the state under Ruto has gone staggeringly contemptuous. We are no longer even a pseudo-democracy, we are a mockery, a theater of the absurd, a tragicomedy. If it was not so, the animals between these 2 independent arms of the government should not be playing in the public gallery. Why should we know that they are squabbling in the first place? To the extent that the executive is withdrawing, security from this other arm, the judiciary. It happened with also this judge called who? The one who summoned the acting IG at that time. Hmm? And then you wonder, kwani these police officers that are being withdrawn at the whims of the executive, of the IG, or the interior CS? Kwani wanalipwa kutoka Sugoi? Are they not being paid through our taxes? Wanalipwa na Murkomen ama wanalipwa na IG? These police officers are being paid by our money. Anyway, just like I mentioned, I have zero empathy and sympathy and concern whatsoever for Karambu. Martha Koome elected to be clay, a party in the hands of Kalenjin mafia, to be used and misused. So now that she's being abused, she should not cry to us. What you thought? On an issue that is very close to my heart, abductions. And this is one discourse I'm very passionate, very unequivocal about, because I've been a victim. Let's start by asking a simple question, dear Kenyans. Who is being abducted or killed? It's the critics of the ruling class, who happen to be majorly the young people of this nation. The following question, or this question thus follows: why are they being abducted? Why are we excoriating? Why are we lambasting? Why are we vilifying the ruling class? I do not want to call them leaders, because it will be a gargantuan affront to that term, leader. These are not leaders. That is why I'm calling them the ruling class. You know, why are we crucifying them, this ruling class? Again, the answer is so simple. Because as the youth of this nation, we are aggrieved profoundly. We are aggrieved in ways words cannot suffice. And for some reason, those who tend to speak subtly, those who tend to speak, moderately, are not heard by the state. Ruto's regime, my dear friends, is innately fiendish. They are inherently iniquitous. They only hear. And they only hear when you draw caricatures. They only hear when you protest, when you draw cartoons, when you brew tea like Aoko does, when you come up with vampire diaries like Morara does, or when you put them in caskets and coffins. Please note that I use the word they hear. They do not listen. Because you hear to react, but you listen to respond. Response is a consequence of sitting down and analyzing the situation at hand. Watoto, hii kitu wanafanya kwa nini? And how should we respond? But reaction comes from impulse. When you are a fool, because that is what fools do. Take, for instance, the contentious Finance Bill 2024. They wanted to smuggle it because they wrongly adjudged that we are illiterate, we are apolitical, we don't know politics, we will not read it, So they believed that we will not notice this stark fiscal injustice. Ole wow. We read it. Not only did we read it, we understood it. And then we were like, nah, apana. We repudiated this document in its entirety. And then we tried to pass that message to them. Ikitu hatuitaki. We made tweets. We made videos. Size of this casket thing was absolutely nowhere in the picture. I hope you're getting my point, dear Kenyans who are listening to this space. Because I told them today, I'm going to tell them why we are putting them in caskets. We tweeted, we tagged them, we held spaces, we made videos, we spoke to them. We even lent our voices on mainstream media. Wakatuona kama pudeshi za masa zao. Guess what? Akina Osoro, that arrogant wash will tell us, we will not even change a comma. Tutaipitisha hivyo hivyo. Akina Cheriot told us he's never met anyone wiser than Ruto. and that bill will transform Kenya, help us pay debt, blah, blah, blah. According to hornbills like him, Ruto is the alpha and omega of wisdom, only rivaled by God. He monopolizes knowledge, and it will amount to an abomination. Yeah? An abomination if you dare question Ruto. This is the kind of mtu wetu syndrome that in fact tukiwa just requires a ravi. In fact, I wanted to use decorum on this platform, but I will today want to ask Cheruyot, because Ruto monopolized wisdom. Akimwambia leo leta bibi yako pale Weston, atachukua peleke, because he's the alpha and omega of wisdom. Kimani Chungwa told us we can go screw ourselves. That bill will pass, whether we kithni, whether we ndekni, that bill will pass. It is that hubris, that haughtiness, that arrogance, that conceit that took us to the streets. Because they blatantly refused to listen to us. They blatantly refused to dialogue. We had to go rogue to catch their attention. Then, now that we went rogue, what was their reaction? Splattering our brains on the pavements. So by the time they were calling us for dialogue, the milk was far spilled, and the cat had drunk it. So to spite us, they brought in a dinosaur and his cabal of thieves to lick our blood. What these tone-deaf thieves failed to understand that hii kitu haikuanza na hii sijui finance bill. When Ruto was campaigning, and oh my God, there is one of the things that I regret to the depths of my soul, that eats and gnaws to my very essence and existence, is that I campaigned for Ruto. I was a fool. For once, let me admit, I was an idiot. But I was also ignorant. And our ignorance is to gain knowledge. You learn. And sometimes in life, you learn the hard way. And Ruto has taught us the hard way. Right now, we will interrogate issues deeper. Si ati mtu akienda kanisani aanze kulia, we're giving him sympathy votes. Tutafanya, tutatenga. Ruto promised us sucrose and delivered sand. Oh, the first 90 days, sijui 100 days, I will do this. Paukwa, pakawa, ya Ruto, ni uongo. Na yawezi je, ni ya serikali ya UDA. For 2.5 years, Ruto's regime has denied us justice. They have denied us equality or equity from whatever angle, semantics, potato, and the rule of law. Nothing, absolutely nothing is working. Everything that was working has been dismantled. And now what we have are new, cash cow schemes. That is what I would call them. Cash cow schemes, which are being forced down our throats. In Luo, I don't know, everyone, we appreciate our different cultures. But in Luo, when a kid refused to take his meals, we used to call it cargo. You force that uji down that kid's throat. That is what Ruto is doing to us with his, fake administration. And NHIF was working. It wasn't perfect, but it served its purpose. Education was affordable to our parents because it was capitated. Mwe mzazi unalipa hii mpaka hapa. Hiyo ingine serikali italipa. Unachukua uniform, vitabu, nini na fee maybe hii. Hiyo ingine serikali na top up. Right now parents are catering for every freaking cent. Mara sijui anataka kuuza airport. Mara the energy sector. And anataka kuziuza to the most corrupt cow worshipper in the entire Asia. If you go to higher learning, there is this fuckery that they are calling new funding model. Yani, these people are bringing policies that tax the hell out of us just so their kids can buy 50 million Ganyas. You see, when a people are continuously denied justice, they get aggrieved. I mean, that's the logical thing that will happen. And what follows is display rather of agitation. If you are aggrieved, you are going to display that you are aggrieved. Right now, what they are doing painfully is that they are trying to circumvent facts. They are trying to circumvent their failure through violence and through using affordable bloggers, who are just nothing but a bunch of clickbait nitwits, to chorus their lies and sanctify their incompetence. Wacha niwaambie, you see, even in your house, ukiona bibi ameanza kufura, ameanza kupika skuma badala ya mchuzi, ameanza kulala na t-shirt ya Jubilee tena, na hizi stocking wanafunga kwa kichwa ya Goat Wives yenye inanuka jasho. Ukimpiga because she's doing that, utavunja hiyo ndoa. You'll make it irreparable. Kalisha yeye chini, aska mama watoto, sweetie, shida ni nini? Tuzungumze, tuongee, tutatue. Utapata shida ni kitu kidogo that you can solve. Kitu kidogo that you can sort out. Maybe aliangalia message yako kama umeenda bafu akaona umetumia some Irene M-Pesa. Turns out maybe your Irene is your niece. So it's just a misunderstanding. Sasa Ruto, yeye reaction yake is that husband wenye bibi akifura anampiga, anavunja ndoa. Badala aone shida iko wapi. Why are we putting him in caskets? Why are we aggrieved? Why are we angry? Why are we wishing him death? Anatupiga, anatu threaten, anatuua. I mean, now wameleta hii El Chapo, anatuambia juzi ati anaweza funga social media. You know, they've been claiming social media is being misused and abused. I mean, come on, social media is an integral part of modern African democracy. This is not the days of beating drums and sending smoke signals, Bwan. The world has evolved. In fact, those of us who studied journalism as first certificates, we are worried. We've had to go for other courses like conflict and political science because AI is making us extinct as writers. The only difference between us, human writers, and AI rather, is that we bring some passion, some emotion. Unaona hii kuchemka na chemka, hii huwezi pata AI. And that is how I also write. Probably that is the only difference. Now, through social media, we are getting socially, economically, and politically enlightened. Now, the biggest enemy of a typical and archetype African politician is an enlightened and learned population. Because we are not subservient to them. Na hiyo ndio inasumbua Ruto na watu wake. We are not subservient. We question things. And allow me use this wife analogy again. Ukipata bibi yako na degree yake alafu umweke kwa nyumba ulale nje siku mbili. Alafu ukuje you expect ati amekuchemshia maji moto, amekuwekea hapo food. Atakwambia, excuse me, sit down. Where were you? Where were you for 2 days? Why were you not picking your calls? Because ameenda shule and she knows her rights. Si mwenye utakokota class 3 huko village mwenye utalala nje siku 3 alafu ukirudi ati Duogo umerudi excuse us. Basi hiyo ndio shida yetu na hii administration. They think we owe them some genuflection. We need to kowtow to their whims and I mean, it doesn't happen like that. Now we are being christened that we are unpatriotic. Kenyans on social media, especially TikTok and X, we are a menace, we are mannerless. Ruto spoke publicly in Homa Bay and said he'll stop abductions provided that our parents teach us manners. Which manners? What are the perimeters of gazing manners? Omera, listen. The likes of Wangari Maathai stripped naked to protest injustice. The Moi regime saw it as mannerlessness. But eventually, she helped protect our environment and our democracy. Besides, we learned our mannerlessness from them. Oh yes, we learned from the best. If that Dadab thing, when Yalioa, a 13-year-old girl and got elected with mere 3K votes, stands in front of Kenyans and mentions baba zetu, ati kwani hiyo kiti ni ya mama yenu, hiyo kiti ni ya baba zenu, kuma nina zenu. Excuse me, how are you supposed to respect those kind of people? Now, he was saying this right in front of Ruto, who did nothing. In fact, if anything, I caught a grin on his lips. He was smiling. He was enjoying it. Viongozi wetu hawana heshima. Viongozi wetu hawana nidhamu. Viongozi wetu hawana utu. Sudi akipanua mdomo, utadhani ni zile takataka za City Market akaja ameshindwa kubeba. Na hizo meno kama algebra x minus y is equal to z. Kazi ni kututisha. Nikipewa hiyo docket siku tatu. Busy making very inflammatory videos and remarks. Someone who cannot even write his own name. Could not even read his oath of office bwana. Hajawahi fungua mdomo bunge. Recently, alikuwa rewarded na sijui honorary PhD. Ndio tumuite Dr. Sudi. Look at such things. As a graduate mwenye amekaa 4 years in university, ama as a mtu anawania PhD. Do you know PhD venye ni ngumu kupata hii Kenya? Unabembeleza lecturer hivi ni kama unatongozana na yeye. And then Kimani Chungwa has a sewage lodged inside his mandibles. Kuongea tu mefi. If you're a graduate of international relations or diplomacy, maybe now uko na certificate or diploma, or it was when you want to naita huko ati double whatever, uko na umechukua diplomacy and communication or IR and international relations and communication. Then unaona Charlene Ruto is the one representing youth in UNGA, UN. Huko New York, talking about swimming lions and digital farming. Na yeye kitu alisomea ni Mascom. Utasikia aje? Anakurepresent as who? If it's not by the fact that yeye ni daughter wa president. What experience does she have in diplomacy or IR to represent you? What does she understand about what the Kenyan youth is experiencing? By the time alikuwa anazaliwa, Ruto was already getting money. Uko na masters, unaendesha nayo nduthi. While George Ruto ako na fleet of nganya at only 25. Alitoa wapi pesa? Nani alimpea loan? Sisi mbona hatupati hizo loan? Ukiteta unashikwa. Why can't they also help us young people? Hata see we want to own matatus. Tell us form a circle as this group and then you give us a loan. Hata tutaki tupatie vitu za bure. Who told you Kenyans want freebies? Give us a loan. Cause hii Hustler Fund kitu unapewa ni 500. 500 hata iwezi nunua condom. Cause hata free condoms they are not giving these days. I'm telling you. Videos and remarks. Someone who cannot even write his own name. Could not even read his oath of office bwana. Hajawahi fungua mdomo bunge. Recently, alikuwa rewarded na sijui honorary PhD. Ndio tumuite Dr. Sudi. Look at such things. As a graduate mwenye amekaa 4 years in university, ama as a mtu anawania PhD. Do you know PhD venye ni ngumu kupata hii Kenya? Unabembeleza lecturer hivi ni kama unatongozana na yeye. And then Kimani Chunga has a sewage lodged inside his mandibles. Kuongea tu Mefi. If you're a graduate of international relations or diplomacy, maybe now uko na certificate or diploma, or it was when you want tunaita huko ati double whatever, uko na umechukua diplomacy and communication or IR and international relations and communication. Then unaona Charlene Ruto is the one representing youth in UNGA, UN. Huko New York, talking about swimming lions and digital farming. Na yeye kitu alisomea ni Mascom. Utasikia aje? Anakurepresent as who? If it's not by the fact that yeye ni daughter wa president. What experience does she have in diplomacy or IR? To represent you? What does she understand about what the Kenyan youth is experiencing? By the time alikuwa anazaliwa, Ruto was already getting money. Uko na masters, unaendesha nayo nduthi. While George Ruto ako na fleet of nganya at only 24. Alitoa wapi pesa? Nani alimpea loan? Sisi mbona hatupati hizo loan? Ukiteta unashikwa. Why can't they also help us young people? Hata see we want to own matatus. Tell us, form a SACCO as this group, and then you give us a loan. Hata tutaki tupatie vitu za bure. Who told you Kenyans want freebies? Give us a loan. Cause hii Hustler Fund, kitu unapewa ni 500. 500 hata iwezi nunua condom. Cause hata free condoms they are not giving these days. I'm telling you. These are the things that are making us mad. Na si ati gava hawana pesa. They have money. The wastage in government is mind-boggling. Rather, oh my God. I'm so upset. Juzi, they dragged an elderly and sick woman straight from an hospital. Her only mistake was telling Baraza. By the way, this name Baraza Waluya. There's that Didmas Baraza, a caricature of a human being. There's this Baraza, Ako Ministry of Health. Now, this mama's only mistake was telling Baraza to her face that SHA is not working. I'm telling you, if you watch that video, kama ni mama yako alikuwa anakuwa dragged hivyo at her old age na ni msick. Ametolewa hospitali, si hata ametolewa kwa nyumba akipumzika, akisikia muziki, rumba. From the hospital, dragged by a plethora, a litany of police officers for the only crime of saying SHA is not working. Hutaweka Ruto kwa casket. Kama huyo ni mama yako. Hutaweka Ruto kwa casket. If your family member, if you have ever experienced the dysfunction of SHA, your family member has been stranded in the hospital or has died because of it, hutaweka hao ghasia kwa casket. If you are a comrade, help has delayed. Kwangu amejaza DM yangu hivi. Aoko, help hatujapata. Aoko. It was just a few months ago. Help delayed for I don't know how long. They were thronging. Nilikuwa naamka hivi. DM kama 100. Comrades. Aoko, help. Help haijakuja. Help haijakuja. It's been delayed. Which means you are not surviving as a comrade. Which consequently mean your poor mother and father back in the village wanaenda kuuza shamba. You see that shamba that you're supposed to inherit ukimaliza campus, wanaenda kuiuza ndio wakupatie pesa you survive nayo in campus. Tell me, dear Kenyans, hutaweka mtu kwa casket? Tell me, hutaweka atianga new funding model? They promised us jobs, right? Through bottoms up. Part of the reason I believed them foolishly, and I've admitted, and I'm repenting for my foolishness. Right now, what are they doing? They are shipping us to modern slavery in Arab countries. Uko na degrees in engineering, unaambiwa tumetafutiwa kazi ya kuendesha taxi, kataa. Umesoma 4 years university, Then Gava tells you wamekutafutia kazi ya kudeliver Uber Eats in Dubai. Aish. Yesu wangu. Babako ni mwalimu uko in the village. Akitoka shule anakuja kwa boma yenye amejenga. Alafu kidogo kidogo Ruto anaingia in power, unasikia hiyo payslip yake kidogo hiyo yenye ana manage nayo bado anakatwa further ati sijui affordable what. Inamsaidia na nini? Already ako na boma yake, hiyo affordable inamsaidia na nini na hiyo payslip yake ndogo? You see the things that are making the youth of this country angry. Saizo unaona Murkomen ako na watch sijui ya 10 million. Ati I have a weakness for watches. We also have a weakness of lambasting you. I mean, you see the kind of luxury that they're oh my God, they're immersed into. The kind of luxury that dictates their lives. The soft life. And Sisi, we are going out here without even 2 decent meals. Ukipata breakfast, bahati ukipata supper. Na sasa hizo umeenda shule. And they promised you jobs. The best that they can do is uendeshe taxi Qatar. Ati sijui this one wameleta juzi ati kuosha Nairobi River. Watu na degree waende waoshe Nairobi River. Mera. Now, juzi wamepea after tumepiga kelele youth nini, wakapea some youth docket ya water. Sasa hii wanataka kumnyang'anya, wanataka kupatia Kiraitu Murungi. That old cargo mwenye alishindwa na mwanamke fair and square. Kwanza we are putting them on notice. Waachie huyo kijana hiyo docket. Waachie huyo kijana. That is the only youthful person in this government. Nani mwingine yako youthful in this government? Who? So wamejaza drug barons and sex pests up. Who was cabinet yote ya Ruto? Nani yako hapo less than 50 years? So they are all 50 and above. Wache kutupima akili bana. Wache kututisha. We are not fools. We are skilled. We are unheard. We are disenfranchised. We are disillusioned. What do they want us to do? Of course, we are going to get avenues to release our frustrations. Jukwa streets, they will shoot us dead. Juzi naona Murkomen is toying around with the shoot to kill order. Against who? Not criminals when wamepatwa wamebeba bunduki usiku. Protesters. Imagine, shoot to kill order ukiprotest. Can you imagine? So because wameamua ni hivyo, we are going to go with them. Na sisi pia tumeamua ni gorilla war. Hiyo street tuta-avoid, but tumekuja huku social media. And let me tell you, hizi vitu mnaona mnafanya sijui kuwaweka sijui cartoons, sijui kuweka tiao, hiyo kitu inauma hawa watu. Because they are ready for our bodies. They are ready to put us in body bags. The police are ready to shoot us. But this government is not ready for our creativity. This government is not ready for our brains. This government is not ready for what we can do. Na hii kitu ndogo unaona inaitwa simu hii na laptop hii, they are not ready. Na hiyo ndio inawauma, ndio inawakula kichwa. Because street nayo hiyo nayo dakika kidogo you are gone. Because wako ready na batons, na wako ready na guns, na wako ready na tear gas. What they are not ready for ni kuwaweka hii kwa sanduku hii. Lambasting them hii kuwalima hii going hard on them, hashtags we are pushing in. This is the one thing they are not ready for. And now we've also retreated to that. Because now we are also diversifying our tactics. And then they are telling us ati you know, we are all wacha kuweka baba za watu kwa sanduku. We are also people's fathers. You are hurting our families. Oh my goodness. That is the most simplistic and idiotic explanation, mode of sympathy seeking that I've ever had. Simple question. Baba ya Rex Masai, see your father? I'm asking. Yeni mbwa koko, yeye si father? The young man, they splattered his brains kwa pavements. He doesn't have a father. Ye baba yake is a lesser human being. Denzel Omondi, whose only crime was to carry a flag. Yeye baba yake sio baba. Akina Ruto, akina Murkomen ndio mababa. Au wengine baba zao sio baba. Because all these things we are doing started when they reacted with violence towards our concerns. They refused to take responsibility. They refused to engage us in a dialogue. And ndio ujue wanatubeba ujinga. Tulitaka watoe cabinet secretaries. Si akatoa. Mtu kama tuseme huu Murkomen huyu anatupea shoot to kill order huyu. Alikuwa transport. Michuki alikuwa transport within 1-2 years. Tuliona transformation. Hadi saizi, hii Kenya saizi, years later after that man has died, utasikia inaitwa Michuki laws. Yani he made a difference. He made a difference that lasted beyond him. For posterity. Murkomen, kazi ilikuwa tu kungara, kuvaa sneakers ya 500,000. That is whatever he did akiwa transport na kunegotiate a dani deal. Aya, akachukuliwa akaletwa hapa inaitwa aje sports kwa youth, the same youth. And you know one of the reasons we were on the street is because of the opulence, the hubristic opulence of akina Murkomen. The same Murkomen akachukuliwa akaletwa the docket ya the people who wanted him out, youth and sports, did nothing. Saizi sasa ndiye amepewa ile kubwa zaidi. Guess what he's telling us? Anatuambia mkienda streets, we will shoot you. Ndio waone hii serikali does not want to listen. Hii serikali does not want dialogue. Hii serikali imetuamulia. Yani kukuwa a young person in this country right now, they have not only criminalized activism, they have criminalized our existence. We are breathing kwa neema ya Ruto. I'm telling you. I was saying we all have families, bro. So kutuambia ati don't touch families or don't touch personalities, ati criticize us on policies and issues and institutions. Institutions are made of logs of wood. Institutions are made of dogs and donkeys and camels. Institutions are made of personalities. Allah? Who are making up those institutions? Who are making those policies? Aliens from I don't know, are the ones making those policies. Are they not these same personalities? So are they telling us that don't talk about personalities, don't attack personalities, just talk about policies? Which policy of them is working? Basi tuongee policies. Tell me which one single policy of this regime that is working. One policy ya hii regime that is working. Omera hawa watu wananipandisha blood pressure for nothing. For nothing. Huh? And then, sasa
Pole,
ya mwisho.
pole. Kunywa maji. Yes, endelea. Asante.
We are not patriotic. Hiyo kwanza ndio inani. Dear Kenyans and dear listeners, how can you be patriotic when you do not feel like a citizen? We are not citizens in Kenya. We are merely victims. Right now, even getting an identity card, an ID, affirming that indeed you are a native of Kenya is a hassle. Ati forms imeisha. Forms wamepanguza nayo nyashi yao. Form imeenda wapi? Back to being at citizenship. Okay, the fundamentality. What fundamentally guides the idea of citizenship is equality in the eyes of the law, predicated on the rule of law. If there was any iota, any modicum of the rule of law, that the rule of law exists in this country, even the animals that we are meeting on Ruto and his henchmen will recede. We are not equal in the eyes of the law, so we don't feel like citizens. Kama ID upati, kama services upati. If you're being treated lesser, the only people who are privileged in Kenya, if you are privileged economically, if you are privileged socially, and especially if you are privileged politically, then you have immunity against impunity. Those are the only people who feel like citizens. Saizi kama ni wewe ungeenda usimame hapo useme kwa nini kiti ya mama yako ya baba yako kumanina zenyu, saizi nakwambia you'll be incommunicado. Your family will be with, yani your family saizi will be wailing, they will be under anguish because what hawajui penye huko. And that brings also to the aspect of rule of law. Kama mtu amekosa, ndio kuna sheria hii Kenya. Kama umekosa, sichukue mtu upeleke kotini. Hii ya kuhold people incommunicado ni gani? Hii kuabduct watu alafu wanapeleka Nyari estate kukalishwa hapo, kunyolewa venye walinyolewa Bernard Kavuli na kupigwa na sijui being whipped. What is that? Ati venye unapinga serikali ndio sisi pia tunatetea serikali. Mine I don't even want to talk about, because like I said, man is reserved for my book. These people are, and that also explains why I'm so riled up. It explains my anger, my ire, my angst against this regime. I'm telling you, we are not equals in the eyes. We are not equal in the eyes of the law anymore in Kenya. We are not. And that is why the police will abduct you and kill you with impunity, because no one will hold them accountable. And there will be nada consequences. Utumishi kwa wote manyash. They serve their masters, and their masters here are the political class. The rest of us are servants. And Kenya has become a feudalism. Alafu ile poko inaitwa Elachi, na hiyo senye yake vintage tells us that if you feel Kenya is bad, leave and go where? You see, this is the kind of language that fuels animosity between the young people and the political class. And that is why pia sisi tunawalimba non-stop. Ati if you feel Kenya is bad, leave. I mean, that is a legislator. Huyo ni mbunge amepigiwa kura na Wakenya, na kwani hiyo dagoreti yake penye yeye ni mbunge, kila mtu anampenda na anapenda Ruto. Of course, there are people who are aggrieved. So who is she responding to? Eh? In such stupid manner. Ati kama unafeel Kenya ni mbaya, hama. Sasa tuhame tuende wapi? Na Kenya ni yetu. That is a leader. Mwenye alipiga kura, alitaka kura akapigiwa, na that is the kind of people representing us. Huh? In that thing, in that keep it up. Anyway, finally, fellow young people of Kenya, with every fiber of your being, I'm begging you, repudiate, denounce, refute, disabuse the tribal card. Niliona Sudi ametoa some gibberish, some paragons, a video that epitomized his low IQ, trying to pit Luos against Kikuyus. We are not having it. We will not go that route. Once we retreat to our tribal cocoons, we have lost this war. June 25th only happened because we did not reason through our tribal lessons as the young people of this country. We were focused on the agenda. And that is why we succeeded. Saizi wanajua hii abduction At some point utaabduct watu for how long, itaisha. So hata wao, they regroup and they re-strategize. Right now they're using even their bloggers to bring this tribal angle, this tribal streak. We must not fall for it. We must not fall for distractions. Ruto has 2 more years to go. He can redeem himself if he chooses to listen, but shida yake ni haambiwi. Salasi alimwambia juzi, I don't know, asira yake is because Salasi alimwambia mbele ya watu, I don't know. Yani uliona reaction yake, mpaka akasema hawa watu nitawalima asubuhi na mchana. Look at how emotionally unintelligent Ruto is. How do you tell people? Kwanza ameenda akaongea na Kinandi, ati those who put me in a casket on social media, I'll put them in a real casket. I mean, you are the president. You are the symbol of national unity. I know you are a human being, saa zingine vitu zinaweza kukuuma. But by the virtue of the office that you hold, it requires some level of decorum. It requires you to hold yourself in some form of way. Unaweza respond vile nasikia ma CS wakimchokoza ama wakimkasirisha, anakutumia message akikwambia vitu hata usitake kusikia. He can do that kwa WhatsApp group yao, kwa Telegram yao, but publicly ati hao watu nitawanyorosha asubuhi na mchana nitafanya. I mean, you can't talk like that. Eh? You cannot talk like that. Saizi yako early campaign launching launching transformers and wells. How can an old president go to launch a borehole when we need dams? You go and launch dams ya billions, huko unaenda ku launch sijui borehole ya 3 million, kitu ya village hata MCA hiyo kitu kidogo kwa MCA, kitu ya women group wa village ndio anafaa ku launch something like that, na ukimwambia ati anakasirika anaanza kukuthreaten. Anyway, teni niachie hapo my friends bwana.
Thank you so much, Maverick. We really gave you that time. Don't drop up. You are here with us, and we're here. She promised that you'll come and tell us what is happening, and we really appreciate you. I think on your conclusion, you said that what we need to focus on the agenda. Let us focus on the agenda, like the agencies who are focused on the agenda in 25th June when they went to the road, they went to the street, and make sure that the bill was not passed. And again, what you've said so